Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we have the wandering duo Gotrek and Felix siding with Bretonnia against the foul Beastmen. Bretonnia is being led by Prussian Prince, and the forces of the Beastmen are being led by Slade. So for the Bretonnian forces, we have a front line. We have a couple peasant mobs up front, some spearmen at arms on the two flanks, and in the center we have the Holy Wardens of La Maison-Tel, the Battle Programs ROR, with the Beast Slayers of Bastogne, the Foot Squires ROR unit. For the range support, we have some peasant bowmen with pox arrows. We have two of those, one of the regular units. We of course have Gotrek and Felix, and for the Lord, we have the Fey Enchantress. She is just without her mount, so she is just going to be floating through the battlefield for you all today. And for the mobility of Bretonnia, we have some Knights of the Realm. We have 4 units of those and 1 unit of Grail Guardians. So that will wrap up the Bretonnian army. Pretty basic stuff. Have nice, good heavy cav. The Gotrek and Felix combo should do well with the infantry and monsters of the Beastmen. Now for the Beastmen army, who have gone very wide with their front line, we have some Ungor Spearman herds. We have Gore herds for the bulk of it. We have Blackhorns Ravagers, the ROR unit, destroyers of Drakwold. Very good poison effect. We have some more Gore herds with shields on the outside flank, and wrapping up is some Ungor Spearman herds. That is the frontline forces for you today. We have Morgar the Shadow Gave coming in for the Beastman. He has the Stave of Ruinous Corruption, so he will be getting a nice summon of Chaos Spawn, as well as the Spirit Essence of Chaos. And of course, he is a regenerating lord. For the rest of the infantry, or I suppose the monstrous infantry at this point, we have a couple Minotaurs with great weapons will do very well against kind of the cavalry forces, and we have some good harass with 4 Razor Gore herds as the rest of the mobility on the Beastman side, with a lovely Chaos Warhounds off into the far corner, and we have the Bray Shaman of Death with Spirit Leech, and I am guessing that is the fate of Buna. Let's take a quick little look, and it is. So that will be the Beastman army. Of course, very much a rush, no ranged to be brought here, and they are just going to be going straight in for the overwhelm. So we will get this show going as the Beastmen do a little bit of repositioning to get things started off. They're going to be the ones that are going to be the aggressors here. As long as these peasant bowmen are going to be able to keep safe and firing, the Bretonnian forces are pretty much going to be settled, as in just kind of sitting back. They don't need to press their advantage any more than they have to. They'll just probably push up, get into range, let these peasant mobs take that brunt of the charge, and then countercharge in with the mobility that they have. So they'll have these Knights of the Realm getting a nice counter charge as these peasant mobs absorb that initial brunt, and then the peasant bowmen will of course then open up to soften as much as they can. Yeah, the Knights of the Realm are getting a nice charge in, doing a nice damage off the charge. A couple more cavalry charges into the front line, into the Gore herd, and into the destroyers of Drakwold. They definitely don't want to stay in that engagement. Getting a nice charge off will be very nice against some unbraced spearmen. And now here's a nice, very nice rear charge into these Ungor spearmen, as the Bretonnian forces are kind of bouncing around pretty well, as we now have the Holy Wardens of La Maison-Tel are in with the Fey Enchantress and with Gotrek and Felix assisting her. So that's going to be a very powerful trio. Getting a nice damage from her Mortis Engine effect, but the Minotaurs, it's common to Castador, are actually coming down trying to get that and kind of isolate these Minotaurs, get a nice hit off on them. Did fail. We do have at least, we have one of the Razor Gore herds are rampaging, but the Minotaurs are where they need to be against these Grail Guardians, and it looks like we have a summon coming down of Chaos Spawn looking to pin in these very elite Grail Guardians. That's going to be a very, very good catch for them. We do have Morgar is actually engaged with the Holy Wardens of La Maison-Tel, and that's actually not too bad of engagement, especially with Felix and Gotrek backing them up. Morgar is very tanky, but with that kind of surround off, he is not going to be very happy. So he's very, very isolated, and it's not going to be good for them. However, the peasant bowmen are starting to get shut down a little bit. We have both actually of the Chaos Bond summons are down right now, and they really are kind of completely getting into the back line. We have like half of a unit of peasant bowmen that are kind of open fire here, and this one is still free to fire in, but we do have quite the mobility from these minotaurs and these regular herds, and one unit of Knights of the Realm is not going to be able to keep these peasant bowmen away. These minotaurs are probably just going to turn and finish them off. But if we take a look into this engagement, we have a nice awakening of the wood going down in the middle of the gore herd. I believe we zoom out here. I do believe Morger has gone down as well to that trio in the center. I mean, with Gotrek and Felix, with the Fey Enchantress and the Holy Wardens, that was no surprise there, getting Morger isolated as they did. But even with that, the balance power is still fairly even. The Beastmen have gotten into the back lines very well. Pretty much all of the range support is routing or shattered at this point. We do have a kind of a haggard unit of the Knights of the Realm coming in, but they really don't want to be over on this side, as these Razor herds will pin them in, and the Minotaurs will go in for the kill. I pretty much gonna need to use Gotrek and Felix to deal with these Minotaurs, keep the cavalry forces away from them, and while the Beastmen, they really want to try and whittle down those forces. But we do have another nice awakening of the wood going down, as these Knights of the Realm are getting pretty gooned out right now. A lot of the Beastmen forces are collapsed on their position, but the Bretonnian forces are coming to their aid, as these Knights of the Realm get a nice charge in, as the Fey Enchantress, Gotrek, and Felix, of course, come in with the Beasters of Bastogne, who will do very well against the Minotaurs as well. But actually, here is Morger, the Shadow Cave. As you can see, he did not take nearly as much damage as I thought. I thought he might have gone down earlier, but he is still kicking pretty much at full health as well. With regen, we don't even see his healing cap in sight, so a little slippery bastard was able to get his way out of there. But now the Brave Shaman of Death is actually in a little bit of a predicament, getting caught out by some of the Bretonnian forces, as the Fey Enchantress and Felix are able to get on top of him. I don't know if there's really anything close by. We do have the Minotaurs with great weapons, but they are dealing with the Grail Guardians, and they really want to stick in that combat, though the Beast Slayers are also supporting those Grail Guardians, and they'll do very good work against the Minotaurs. Now, the Brave Shaman of Death, the Bretonnian forces have decided to peel away and assist this main engagement, because really the Minotaurs are that big threat that is left on the field. Looks like we have another Comet at Casador. It is actually going to do quite a bit into this unit of Gore Herds, as they are grouped up and kind of caught in, doing a nice shot. I think maybe clipping even one of the units of Minotaurs as well. But now both of these great weapons are now engaged, and it looks like, I mean, the Beast Slayers are kind of in a bad spot right now. They're wavering, which is just going to kind of leave the Fey Enchantress, Felix, and Gotrek. I mean, Felix and Gotrek are very good bodyguards, but against all of these forces, I don't know if that's going to be quite enough. We kind of take a look out, and it is pretty much it. We do have some Knights of the Realm and just some peasant mobs, but yeah, these Knights of the Realm are just going to try and clear up as much as they can from the outside, but that is it for Bretonnia. We do have some more units very far away, but right now, these three units pretty much just stand alone against Morger, the Shadow Cave, this Brave Shaman, and then some very meaty Minotaurs as well. We have both units of those are going to be doing quite a bit of work. But being all this blobbed up, and as long as the Fey Enchantress is able to stay alive, her Mortis Engine effect is going to do very well. Though it looks like Felix is he's started to get down a little bit. He's taking some damage from Morger, but they are also dishing it out fairly well. Now, Gotrek here is actually going to be kind of in his ideal spot. These Minotaurs do peel off to stop the charge of the Grail Guardians, and that's a very good pick there, and they finish them off lickety-split, as we do have a little bit more support from these Knights of the Realm, that they really should just become an in and out engagement, but though I don't know if they're actually able to at this point, because it is only single entities. We do have some actually Knights of the Realm chasing off some routing units, so they can be cycle charging at least for now. The Brave Shaman of Death is starting to waver, as the cavalry force is shattered now, as another Awakening of the Wood goes down in the midst of this, though with pretty much all this being monstrous infantry, not going to be doing as much damage as you might want, actually saving up for maybe a Comet of Casadora into this blob of elite infantry, which might be not so bad. The Fey Enchantress is now actually isolated from the rest of her Druid, as actually Gotrek is taking quite a bit of damage. You can noticeably see him losing health right now, as Mortar is right on top of him and doing quite a bit of damage. Gotrek himself cannot stand up to Mortar. But yeah, the Fey Enchantress, though, even surrounded by all these Minotaurs, is able to just pretty much tank out all that damage, isn't taking any hits. Knights Realm get a nice charge off into the Minotaurs, hopefully trying to get them to break, but they are able to survive at least for now. Again, we have Gotrek is still going strong. He has some breakable, so that is going to be very helpful as a nice anchor for Bretonnia. But yeah, even the Fey Enchantress, I'm kind of surprised that she isn't taking more damage than what she already has. Knights of the Realm able to kind of chase off some of these Razorgore hordes, but the Brave Shaman of Death is also disengaging. Don't know if it was necessarily a good idea to have him engage, but now look at this. We have all of Bretonnians, all of the forces of the Beastmen are actually kind of breaking down, and even Mortar is routing, and the balance power is going very much away from them. And we'll see what I don't think the Beastmen really don't have anything left. He's pretty much just this unit of Minotaurs against these trio here, and yeah, those Minotaurs really aren't going to be able to do enough, especially, I mean, Gotrek, he is low, but he's not that low where these Minotaurs are going to be a big threat to him. They really need the support of the Gorherd, but that will be it as the army does break. Now we take a quick look at the after report. Yeah, the Minotaurs did very well. They were pretty much engaged in all of their ideal targets, dealing very good damage to the Knights of the Realm. Grail Guardians were actually able to get shut down fairly well. And again, the Beast Slayers of Estone, even against the Minotaurs, who they're really, as pretty much their ideal target, they really weren't able to do as much, as they were pretty much knocked down. But yeah, it was a very, very close match. Beastmen just kind of ran out of steam. And even with, I mean, it was pretty much down to the trio, the Fey Enchantress, Felix, and Gotrek. Those three units were really that kind of that big anchor that the Beastmen just couldn't break. They couldn't bring down all three when they were together, and they never really gave them the opportunity to kind of isolate any of them, as they pretty much stayed together the entire match. So yeah, that was a very good match indeed. This was part of my Rise of the Mortarchs tournament, and I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good one.